here we are with more Great Ace Attorney Chronicles Case 4. And they've updated the title screen to be the room with the weird cannon. So we had discovered that England is a dystopia where they tax everything. No, we found... Okay, so the person that we are defending, that I suppose we're going to defend, is accused of having run up to a woman and stabbed her in the back. And he's like, nope, I saw... He's like, I walked up to her, I forget, did he even say he saw another person? Or was he just like, nope, I saw a lady, and then when I looked, she was on the ground with a knife in her back. So I ran. Went to his apartment, and it's full of books, and a cat, and a bricked up window. And now we had been interrogating his landlord. And we are there with Herlock Sholmes, who is just about to do a crazy deduction, which will be incorrect. And then we will correct him. Hold on. Alright, that'll do. Oh, I forgot to review to remember what I did for the guy, the landlord's voice and his maid. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo. I think so. There is just time enough for one of my greatly admired great deductions. Let us conclude the matter before dark. Mr. Garadeb. Though it would seem you are a military man of considerably distinguished service, your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what one might call first-rate. I'm afraid, sir, that it is all too clear to me. There are two conclusions I have been able to draw by careful observation of your living arrangements. I beg your pardon? Was that how I did him? Like, I beg your pardon. The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care. And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you. Mr. Naruhodo, look! The old man's broken out in a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems Mr. Sholmes' conclusions are both spot on. How could you possibly? How could I possibly know, you mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungle of logic and reasoning, I am the king of beasts. And I know only too well that wild beasts are not easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. The game is afoot. The foot is a game. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see. I noticed that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus, we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? For a man with a military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Aye. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garadeb, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue. Egad, brain, brilliant. Yes, though an army man you appear unimposing at best, a fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of beasts. What is this piffle, I ask you? In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breathing specimen shipped from India, which you tried to keep in this very house. What? Oh, he's got a slap mark on his face. He's been hiding it by facing in the same direction, also wearing the same clothes all the time, even though they're covered in tea. Yet living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you had imagined. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well... Yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madame? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me, with one glance in your direction. It is? Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's whereabouts. For protruding from it is a handbill advertising a circus show. Ah. Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Garadeb, at Batty's Circus. Oh, it's not the Big Berry Circus? Oh, that won't be invented for several decades yet. And also it's in California. A traveling show, currently sojourning in a nearby park. I have observed the tents. You sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe. I most certainly did not. I believe I have made my point. The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion. And a simple visit to the circus now will reveal the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. A rampaging Asiatic lion. Now, Mr. Garadeb, it is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. Amid fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible in your visage. Nonsense, man. I simply... But what we must now ask ourselves is the true cause of this pain. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for payment. Ah. For cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved has had a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of your household. Are lions quite fond of tea and wheat? And so, you had no choice but to let it go. Well, if only he had fewer windows, he could have afforded to keep the lion, right? Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken. Woolen with 2 L's? Is that correct? Oh, dearie me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, Madame, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Ah, yes, cakes. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes. Ah. There is no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an unsatiated appetite. Was it or was it not said once by a certain noblewoman, if they have no bread, let them eat cake? Food is at the heart of all tragedy, in fact. Whatever do you mean? Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. There's only one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. The teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India. In India. Egad, brain. Brilliant. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this beastly puzzle. So then... Arg! What is the matter with you, Joan? You're pouring scalding hot tea all over me. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garrideb. I'm afraid I didn't notice. My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times, too. Oh. Mr. Sholmes, sorry to butt in again, but could I make an observation? Why, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it again? Again. Well, your deductions just now. Do you really think a lion could have fit inside a room of this size? Indeed, it is the only explanation for the facts. The terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realms of common sense. But wouldn't it be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms of common sense as well? But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Garrideb and his maid would have been hurt, or worse. Ah, that's where you're stuck. No doubt, the former military man held his own against the beast using that large cannon. I thought you said that they sold the lion to the circus. And what about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. But I don't believe I've ever heard of a lion that drinks tea. Ah, my dear Miss Usato, it occurs to me with some regularity that irrespective of race and breeding, whenever anyone lands on Great British soil, they are infused with a highly appropriate taste for afternoon tea. Oh, what a glorious notion! Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's your turn to shine again. I had a feeling that was coming. A slight massage, that's all Mr. Sholmes' deductions need. You can do it. Excellent. I've been waiting for my trusty partner in deduction to step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't even know yet whether this is going to help with Mr. Natsume's case. Still, uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. At least that's what I want to believe. Let us start again, from the beginning, of Herlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. So I guess the first part we don't need to read it again. It's exactly the same thing that he just said. But the story will start to change right here. I really didn't see the lion thing coming. No, but if you observe Mr. Garrideb's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast did run amok here in this room. Yes, something with a very fierce nature. But it couldn't have been a lion transported from India. So what was it then? We must follow Mr. Garrideb's gaze. That will lead us to the true answer. Let's look at the lion statue, though. Well, this is the lion statue that Mr. Sholmes picked out. Yes, I wonder. Perhaps if you did live with a lion, it would prove to be a rather sweet companion. I think that's like a mouse trying to tell its family that the cat around the house is sweet. I suppose it is a bit of a flight of fancy, isn't it? Anyway, the beast we're looking for is something else. Let's have a good look around. Roulette. These are shells from the cannon, aren't they? What a strange place to keep them. I imagine they have some significance to Mr. Garrideb from his time in the army. Ah, of course. He mentioned a battle to us before, didn't he? Do you remember? He said that he'd been shot in the knee. Perhaps it was one of these that hit him. If around that size had hit his knee, there'd be nothing left of it, or Mr. Garrideb for that matter. Mr. Sholmes has a Persian slipper. This man has spent shells. Perhaps it's customary in Britain to display, well, rubbish on the mantelpiece. The fireplace. No. The metal. No. The very expensive windows. No. 'Tis this. What's this photograph? It appears to be from Mr. Garrideb's wedding. He looks very happy, doesn't he? He does, but you can't make out his bride. No, how unfortunate. Something must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face. I wonder what happened. Probably best not to delve too deeply there. This must have been when Mr. Garrideb was still in the army. He seems to be gathering his rather stout bride effortlessly and beaming a smile at the same time. I suppose he was very strong in his younger years. Hard to imagine now. He's thin as a rake. The glass is broken, so you can't see the bride's face at all. It wouldn't matter. I have prosopagnosia anyway. But no amount of cracks could hide the woman's plump form. Rude? I think powerful would be kinder than plump, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, she certainly looks that. There's a lot of horsepower there. Not someone you'd want to upset, that's for sure. Are we zooming in even farther? Have you noticed her wedding ring? It's very large, isn't it? Yes, that's an unusual design. It looks like some sort of embellished sunflower.
Take that!
So is the maid his bride? The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that newlywed bride. Sup, Shoob? Good to see you. Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit. Our area is getting absolutely destroyed tonight. With weather? An ice storm? I didn't even check the Weather Channel. I just don't go outside at all. But knowing that, I probably should have gone shopping today. I've got plenty of food and stuff. Just... I mean, it's fine. I just won't go outside for the next couple of days. And how are you, Void? It's been a while. Yes, this framed print pictures your wife, Mr. Garrideb. And while we lament the fact that her face is obscured, we can still make out her mighty arms and note the considerable horsepower they must contain. Indeed, surely any woman of such powerful constitution would be honored to be described as a beast. Honored might be stretching a point. Workplace is already closed for tomorrow. Man. Like, I'm sitting here like, oh, is there any preparations that I should have made? No, none. I guess I could go outside and lift the wipers off of my car so I don't freeze to the windshield, but I don't know. Too late. The fact remains that the beast which so clearly savaged this room was your wife, Mr. Garrideb. Gyarg! The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well... Yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madame? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction. It is? Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue to the beast's whereabouts. The poor, fragile, defenseless woman is beside herself. Boo. Ton of rain coming down. It's going to be down to the teens or less overnight. I mean, pretty much the past couple of weeks, it's been constantly below freezing, like often down into single digits. I thought it had warmed up today because I heard it raining. See, I don't even know how... I don't know how anything works with outside. I just stay inside from now on. Writing an entire D&D setting, that is a project and a half, good sir. Actually, yeah, where is my... Should I do that? Should I run outside and put the wipers up? I mean, regardless if I go to try to go somewhere, it's going to be in a car that needs to be thoroughly de-iced, so I don't think it actually makes a difference. Well, I don't know about fragile. Oh dear. Anyway, Mr. Sholmes is quite right. There's no sign of a Mrs. Garrideb anywhere. But it seems there may be a clue as to her whereabouts. A clue that this maid is trying to hide. I wonder where Mr. Garrideb's wife could be. So it's not the circus tickets that she has in her pocket? Give them a... You think she's the murderer? She did it in the in the conservatory with the frying pan? Seems reasonable. It certainly does appear to be a circus handbill poking out from her pocket. Batty Circus, currently performing shows in a park not far from here. You don't think? Surely Mr. Garrideb didn't sell his wife to the circus? Mr. Naruhodo, how could you even think such a thing? I was only joking. Besides, I would have gone with, do you think he fed her to his pet lion? It's somehow worse. So if it's not that... Wait a dang gosh second. You are the wife! So she's wearing a very large ring, look. Oh yes, a sunflower design with some rather nice embellishments. And it's on the ring finger of her left hand, which means it's surely a wedding ring. Looks like it's on there for life, too. I can't imagine it would slide off a finger of that size. He's getting a lot of jabs against the larger than life individuals. That's something to think, Mr. Naruhodo, not to say. Do you know, Mr. Garrideb's wife in the photograph had a ring very much like this one. It was a large sunflower design as well. Really? You have a great memory for these things. A large sunflower wedding ring. It's quite a coincidence that they have the same ring, isn't it?
Take that!
Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. Ah! Indeed it does. That flowery band gleaming from your finger gives you away. For it is identical to the one shown on the hand of Mr. Garrideb's bride in this photographic print. In other words, you are no ordinary household maid. No. You are Mr. Garrideb's lucky bride. You are Mrs. Garrideb herself. Oh my. Oh my word! Well, jolly fine detecting, sir. Stepping on a Lego is instant death. We've yet to see that in a Phoenix Wright game. Stepping on a Lego. Lego is the murder weapon. As you rightly surmised, this is the wife, yes, my Joan. Rather let herself go, you might say. She was a bally corker, but arg! it would appear that you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. After all, you are a retired army man, yet you are in the business of renting out rooms. Tut. I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct? It's not right, I told you. I was second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. A man has his pride, don't you know? Oh no, it says correction because Herlock Sholmes is the one who made all these deductions, and now I am stepping in to correct him. He thought that a lion had trashed this man's apartment, and we corrected him and said, no, it was his wife. By golly, it's a sorry thing when a chap can't even afford to have a single maid in his employ. So we briefly discussed the maid thing, where they were like, oh yes, everything is like, status in London is measured by how many maids you have, and if you don't even have one maid, well, you're one of the poors. So he has his wife dress up as a maid, I guess. Yes. Here in London, one is rather judged. A household cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all, though in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearances are a folly. You mean Mr. Garrideb has his wife work as his maid? Precisely. Am I right, Mr. Garrideb? Only in company, obviously, but listen here. This must remain a secret. Tip-top secret, please. Nature of the beast. The raging wife. Now, Mr. Garrideb, it is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. Are there any good detectives in fiction? Aside from Sherlock Holmes, the real one, anytime you have a detective, it's always, okay, this is the dumb detective, though. He's the idiot. Mr. Sholmes is quite something. He's still calling Mr. Garrideb's wife a beast. Yes, as a woman, that feels rather uncomfortable. But Mrs. Garrideb is standing beside her husband as we speak. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he? Oh, how true. So perhaps that supporting arm that seems to be propping up his head has some other significance then. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garrideb's pain is tangible. What could that pose of his really signify? Mr. Garrideb certainly looks glum. According to Mr. Sholmes' deduction, that's because he's having to endure the acute pain of losing something dear to him. But we know that he hasn't lost his wife, so that means there must be another cause for the pain he's suffering. The pipe. It's the pain of lung cancer? From drinking tea that has tobacco in it? That's a very large pipe, isn't it? Yes. Anyone who has something that size hanging out of his or her mouth on a regular basis is sure to have a serious chin, like Mr. Garrideb's. But what's that white binding around it all about? His hair. His coiffure. No, the slapped cheek. Clearly. Oh my, look at that bright red mark. Gosh, that's quite something, and clearly made by somebody's hand. Yes, Mr. Garrideb has been slapped on the face, it seems. Hard. I've never seen such a clearly defined mark. Who ever could have done such a thing? Well, there's a very limited number of candidates, I'd say.
Take that!
Take that, and I slapped him on the cheek. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that slapped cheek. And of course, the deliverer of that impressive mark on your cheek that refuses to fade was you, Madame Joan Garadeb. Well, yes. You're desperate to hide the slap mark on your cheek, sir. Ugh! Oh, the blazes! How did you work that out, man? Nothing escapes the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. That's why you haven't looked directly at us even once. To keep your other side from view. Wow. Now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves what caused Madame Garadeb to fly into a rage. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is this pile of bills that has given the rise to the pain you suffer. Didn't Mr. Sholmes say the bills were all for lion fodder? Yes, but now we've established that the lion never existed. Which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all that food was Mr. Garadeb's wife. Mr. Naruhodo, she's a person, not a thing. Yes, well. Probably pissed about being a maid is one thing. She's also the person who gave her husband a mighty slap round the face. One so hard that it left a perfect hand mark, in fact. Yes, why would a woman want to hit her husband with such force, I wonder? I'd love to know the answer to that question. Bills? Looking at all these bills, it certainly amounts to a great deal of food. Meat and potatoes by the cartload, wasn't it? Well, looking at the two of them, you can tell immediately who eats the lion's share in this household. Well, at least we're no longer talking about an actual lion anymore. This broken... Oh, I can actually zoom on... Huh. Oh dear, this plate has been smashed to pieces. And yet nobody seems inclined to tidy up the mess. Perhaps it's some sort of high art. Really, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, anyone who has a cannon on display in their living room is clearly a little eccentric. Yes, let's call that eccentricity. Do 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 do. Ah, a bookmark, you say? Ah, someone must be reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here. Look. Mr. Garadeb is clearly an avid reader. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark. Oh no, so it isn't. It's a note written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. And look next to the signature here. Lip marks made with lipstick. Oh, what a passionate and romantic gesture. Don't get any ideas, Susato-san. Oh dear, I'm sorry. So this bookmark is actually a love note, then. Love note, you say?
Take that!
Her catty nature, is she a cat? I don't think... Oh, well, lions are cats. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed. Perhaps the sender of this note, a certain Miss Mary, is the fly in the ointment here. Garg! Spousal abuse? Please don't. But I don't know the ballet woman. You don't know her? That note wasn't written to me. It was just in the book. I don't know how it got there. It was just in there, you say? That's right. That's what I've been saying. Arrgh! A likely story. Now listen here, Joan, old thing. I explained at the time. I put the book at that second-hand place, and that note must already have been in there. So the previous owner of the book was using the note as a bookmark, you mean? That's right, that's what I've been trying! A likely story.
For heaven's sake, woman, look at the name. It's written to James. My name, in case you've forgotten, is John. Arg!
A likely story.
Are you questioning my name now?
Oh, jeez!
And there we have it. Arouse the suspicions of the female heart, and you unleash a beast with a most ferocious bite. Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack.
Unimaginable?
The aftermath of which can clearly be seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I am not mistaken.
Oh, dearie me.
What could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madame, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes.
But surely Mrs. Garrideb didn't eat the carpet?
No, of course not.
But there doesn't seem to be any doubt that the state of disarray that this room is in is a result of her wild temper. No, that's true. So this is the last part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction that we need to fix. We need only follow Mrs. Garrideb's gaze, and that will tell us the real answer. Alright, let's see what we can see. Yes! I see a candle. Well, I see a carpet. The carpet here has been ripped to shreds. Yes, and according to Mr. Sholmes' deduction, the tears match those made by an Indian lion's teeth exactly. Oh, look here. What is it? If you look closely at the edge, you can see scorch marks. Oh, yes. So you can. In that case, perhaps the carpet wasn't eaten in the normal sense at all. Let's rethink this with that in mind. Circus handbill. This is an advertising handbill for the circus. Batty's Circus. It's in a nearby park. Oh, that was her. In a nearby park. Isn't this the same one we saw earlier? The one that was folded up in Mrs. Garrideb's pocket? Perhaps they're very great circus lovers. It couldn't be that the Hungry Lion is somehow involved again here, could it? Oh dear, I do hope not. Missing a candle, you say? This looks like a very old candlestick, doesn't it? The base looks too small. Surely it's very unstable. Looks to me like even the slightest knock would make it topple over. Oh dear, that would be dangerous. Wait, take a closer look at this. There's one candle missing. Yes, I didn't notice before. Why is that, I wonder? Why is one candle of the three missing from its holder? Oh, look at the cakes. So many cakes. Is that all you can think about? Well, look at them, Mr. Naruhodo. There's a mountain of them, and they all look so delicious. It's more of a tower than a mountain, I'd say. It's a mountain, and it's my hope that one day in our very homeland I will be able to perform the tea ceremony at the foot of such a mountain. It's definitely a tower. So, I suppose we are saying candlestick. Yes, I immediately know. Before we even entered into the whole Sherlock Holmes thing, when we were in here the first time, I noticed that there was a candle on the floor.
Most illuminating, my dear fellow. And of course, the only possible way out of this logical labyrinth.
Yes. The remnants of a ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible.
Indeed they are. The scorch marks at the edge clearly give the truth away. Scorch marks. It would appear that this room was the scene of a little marital altercation. Don't call it little.
This is serious. She's poured boiling water on him some 15 times since we got here, and slapped him several times. And destroyed most of their possessions. And set the room ablaze. This is not little. Why aren't we prosecuting her? Right? Mrs. Garrideb's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only on her husband's face, but on the entire room. The force of her strike caused a candle to fall from the holder. And in seconds, the carpet was alight, and the whole corner of the room in flames. Yeah, sure. For the most ferocious beast in this world is neither a violent lion nor a vengeful woman, but fire. And in this room, that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok. Its fire claws.
Eloquently put, my dear fellow. So you see, there is but one conclusion here.
After the sparks of marital discord flew,
this room was the scene of a fire.
You can walk? Dwa! Oh, no, he can't. Carpet scorched by a small fire. Lego underfoot. There probably are Legos on the floor. I mean, there's broken dishes on the floor. It's almost as bad as a Lego.
These dashed long winter nights, nothing to do but read in front of the fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good second-hand bookshop just around the corner. Buy all my old novels there. And in the pages of one particular novel, you discovered some rather illicit material.
For which your wife admonished you harshly. Why are we sugarcoating this? Why is everyone normalizing this behavior? It's not okay.
Don't know about admonished. Demolished might be closer to the mark. And beast is most certainly an...
Here we go again. And the carpet, was that destroyed by fire when a candle fell on the floor?
I'm afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. I was caught between the old stick's rage and the raging flames.
You paint a torrid picture, sir. One that would have been most entertaining. That's sympathy for you.
Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started going up as well. We've had to hide the mesh behind that screen for the time being.
Over here, Mr. Garrideb?
Well, you have nothing more to hide now, if you'll allow me.
Ah, yeah, that's up in flames.
Had all my favorite novels in that case. But as soon as the fire got a hold of them, that was it. Whoosh, up in smoke.
Gosh.
My wife started hurling things at me.
What a terrible sight it must have been.
There was I, back up against the window, under heavy enemy fire, incendiary books incoming 10 to the dozen. Worst of it is I lost my favorite book called The Lion's Pride.
The Lion's Pride. Ah, yes, your notorious love of big cats coming through again.
I assure you the title didn't influence my choice in the slightest.
So the poor man really did lose something dear to him as the result of the ferocious beast's rampage. Mr. Sholmes' deductions turned out to be correct. Once again, can only be described as a great British wonder.
I tell you, it was total carnage. Flames everywhere, and they all sticking full fettle.
Never heard that word before. Fettle. Out of interest, what time of day was that?
Oh, not sure I can remember. It was 2 days ago now. Well, let's see, around 5 o'clock, I think.
So at exactly the same time as a terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window on the street below.
Oh, even more terrifying on the inside, I can assure you. The whole of Blighty could have been flattened outside my window at that moment, and I wouldn't have noticed a dashed thing.
Oh, really? Mr. Sholmes?
Yes, Mr. Naruhodo, what can I do for you?
Well, I think we've got to the bottom of Mr. Garradeb's situation now, but what does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstances?
I can't help you there, I'm afraid.
What?
My dear fellow, if you'll recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you that although I knew the retired armor man to be hiding something, I could not be sure whether his secret would prove to be of relevance or not.
I just knew you were going to say that.
Now, Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into only one of 2 categories. Those relevant to the case, and those not.
That makes no sense to me.
Well, no matter. It is of far greater importance that you make up your mind now.
Sorry?
Visiting hours at the prison will soon be over.
Oh no! Is it that time already? If we're to accept Mr. Natsume's case, we have official paperwork to attend to.
So that's it.
No more time to... No more time to think. Perhaps you'd like to betake yourselves to bidding us farewell now. I must prepare supper for Mr. Garradeb. Oh yes. I'm so sorry. Thank you both very much for your time, and we'll be sending the police off to drag this woman to jail. So Seki-san will be waiting for us, and I'm going to have to give him an answer. What was my voice for Soseki? He was too weird to get, like, any kind of voice that made sense. This isn't the prison. What's going on? It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. We must hurry back to the prison. Yes, I know. Let's hail a car... Oh. What's the matter? It looks like something's going on over there in front of the Garradeb's house. Oh, hi. Is Shakespeare in the Park? Do they do that for real in Great Britain? Man, I don't know who you are. I know thee not, old man, fall to thy prayers.
Who you calling an old man, you rum-looking niminy-piminy?
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy.
Who's this Horatio fella, eh? What are you on about?
Excuse me.
Eh? What the... Who are you now?
I'm sorry, it just looked as though there might be some problem here. And my associate here, Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see.
A lawyer? What?
Quite the chin. If I can be of any assistance, I'd be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I have studied English law. Why do we assume they've said 3 words to each other? Why do we assume that they need legal representation?
Fine. I'll be out of my way for today, but you mark my words. This ain't over yet.
Get thee to another. That is from Shakespeare. Romeo and Juliet? No, I don't know which one.
Do I look like a bloomin' nun to you?
I do hope you're not injured? Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle. Thank you. What was that all about? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. I'm not Horatio either. Forgive the enquiry, sir, but are you a lodger here, in the Garadeb residence? Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode. Mr. Garadeb mentioned that he had another lodger, didn't he? This must be the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the 1st floor, by which we mean the 2nd floor? Yes, a gentleman named Natsume. Oh, more worthy than a polemist in my battle of words ne'er could there be. Sorry, battle, did you say? Who is the stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume and I sparred long into the night. I see. I don't fully understand, but it seems like Mr. Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances at least. So, fair maiden, so good gentleman. I can tarry here no longer. Fare thee well! I didn't really understand him, but I think he's returned to his room. It seems he's unaware of what happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can't really help us. With Soseki-san and that man as lodgers, the Garadeb house is certainly full of eccentrics, and a spouse abuser, who we should have arrested. Anyway, I'll go and find a carriage. Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly awaiting our return. Let's hope we can get to the prison before visiting hours are over.